Welcome to Two Deep Hokies Under the Influence, a Sons of Saturday podcast. I'm your host, Pete B. I've got my co-host, Sam Jesse here. Sam, I didn't leave you hanging this time. I came back from vacation. I decided to make my way back to the U.S. Trump let me back in, so that was nice.
That's good.
And
That's a
yeah,
good start.
but yeah, great trip. And you held it down for me a little bit while I was gone too.
Yeah, shout out to Brett and Robert. Dusting off the cobwebs a little bit with those guys. But yeah, it's been an insane amount of non-football stuff to talk about over the last few weeks.
Yes, indeed. Why don't you kick us off with a cheers?
The cheers tonight is to what I actually think is the greatest night of my life so far, is that Metallica concert. Like,
Oh,
hands down. Yeah, hands down. That's it. I haven't gotten married yet. I don't have a child, but until one of those things trumps it, which they have a lot of work to do, but that was awesome.
cheers. The concert videos and subsequent reactions have me so incredibly jealous. Now, I didn't even have the opportunity to go. It's not like I passed up a chance or gave away tickets. Like, I was going to be out of the country. I was never going, but goddamn, am I jealous?
It was like, it didn't even feel like the same stadium. I don't know how to because I was on the floor. I was standing right next to Brett Smith the whole time. And I looked around and I was like, this is so insane that this is the same building.
Yeah.
It was just mind boggling. And we have a whole podcast. Brett and I got on with Billy Ray, who was also at the concert. We went over the whole thing. Metallica was obviously great. They played a special set list for this concert, which was insane. It was the smoothest, most well-ran, most enjoyable Virginia Tech event that I've ever been to. And I've been going to games since I was like 6 months old. It was as flawless of a night as you could get. And I hope everyone else had as much fun as I did.
I think they did. There's been not a single negative comment about anything. And there's been a lot of video posts from Sons of Saturday. Go to our channel. You can see the performance of Enter Sandman. You can see Sam and Billy and Brett's reaction video. Lots of coverage, lots of views on our end coming from you guys. People love the Metallica stuff. I'm sure we're getting a lot of Metallica fans and not Tech fans watching those videos, but it doesn't matter. It all goes to the view count, and they're up there. And the stuff was really cool. And you guys actually previewed it on this show. You talked some football, but then you kind of previewed the concert, which was cool because listening back on vacation on my way home, I was taking in the pod, and I don't know much about Metallica. I never have, other than obviously my connection to Enter Sandman via Tech. And I know their songs like more than a few, but they've been around forever. But as far as going to a concert or being like a huge thrash metal fan, like that is not me. So listening to the pods gave me a little bit of an education.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who left that concert. Even like friend of the program, Grant Mitchell, was texting us and he was like, I've never thought I would enjoy a show like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was the greatest show that he's ever seen. Like better than any country, rap,
crazy.
Any of it. It's such an incredible performance, and I could keep talking about it all night, but we have some football to talk about.
Yeah.
Into basketball.
We got football. We got news and notes here. I'm going to go through a couple things, do a couple teases, and then we'll get into the meat of our pod, which is going to be the football transfers, finishing out who joined the program since I was on vacation. Over that week, 10 days, whatever it was, we got a lot of commitments. So we're going to get into that shortly. We did have an actual news thing though, Sam, which was the South Carolina game time got announced for the Kickoff Classic. It's 3 p.m. on ESPN. So we will be on national television. Not that there was really a doubt, but that 3 p.m. time slot on Sunday, I don't think there's going to be any other college games on.
I think it's an island game, dude. It's an island game. And that's about the time slot that we thought they were going to get. So no real surprises. Huge, huge opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The Sons of Saturday will be having a party the night before at Park Tavern. The ticket details are coming out slowly. You don't have an opportunity to buy tickets yet. That will be towards the end of the month, but keep an eye out. If you want any information, go to Sons of Saturday on Facebook or Twitter. All the information's there via an infographic. And there are hotel rooms still available that you can book through Sons of Saturday. And the rate is really good if you want to go down to Atlanta. So it's just something to keep in
Yep.
mind, and we'll keep you apprised of what's coming up.
And also, you can go on the website, sonsofsaturday.com, and sign up for the email newsletter. We put those out pretty regularly with podcasts, articles, and all that stuff. And that's where you'll find the most detailed breakdown of events and ticketing and merch and all that stuff.
Absolutely. All right. So we already talked a little bit Metallica. I want to just mention the draft because last time I recorded it with you, we were talking about the draft, where guys might go. And I did a video on APR because he landed with the Eagles in the 6th round. But Tootin went to the Jags in the 4th. Lane went to Washington in the 4th. Strong went to Buffalo in the 6th. And then APR and Peebles also went in the 6th, with Peebles going to the Ravens. So of those guys, we kind of expected Tootin or Lane to go first, and both of them went early. I thought one of them would slip into the 3rd round, but that did not happen. They both dropped to the 4th. What do you think is the best fit of those 5 guys on a team?
It really seems like Jalen Lane is being embraced by the Commanders, and I think he fits that offense really well. I think he's really excited for it. From everything that they've said, even to non-Virginia Tech media outlet, is they feel like that was their steal of the draft compared to where they had him on their big board. So that seems to be kind of the match made in heaven so far. I will also say, and I don't love saying this as a Browns fan, but Aeneas Peebles fits the Baltimore Ravens mentality very, very well. And I think he's going to be embraced by that fan base. And I could see him, maybe not being a, starter for that team, or maybe like like I'm kind of getting like rotational defensive tackle, role player, makes a few big plays, locker room guy kind of vibes from Aeneas Peebles. And it's just another really good draft by another team in the AFC North.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good fits. Like, I think Strong on Buffalo is a really good fit for him.
Yeah.
And Ravens, you nailed that, man. I mean, that's a match made in heaven, that Peebles going there. I did a video on APR's fit with the Eagles, and so obviously I'm biased there, but I do think with the exit of Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham retiring, we have a need for pass rushers. He's going to have opportunity. I think the fit is good. And then Lane to Washington. I hate that as an Eagles fan, having to have potentially Jalen Lane torch me for a decade. I don't love that, because it seems like Washington has their quarterback and they need some playmakers to go with him. Now, Tootin is the one that, like, I really think is the biggest question, because it's the Jags. And I love Tootin, and I think he would succeed and will succeed in the NFL, but you just don't know what you're going to get with the Jaguars. You really don't.
Yeah, and they have ETN there still, who has had good moments, had bad moments. I don't know if they're totally sold on him, and that's why they went ahead and drafted Bashal Tootin. So maybe it's more of an open competition for that RB1 spot than we thought. But at minimum, he's going to get some serious playing time on that offense, because they're kind of starved for playmakers right now. They also do have Travis Hunter, who will probably start out wide receiver as well. So part of a new look Jags offense this year.
Some exciting playmakers. I mean, with Hunter, the new coach, Tootin, it's kind of a team you want to check in on, right? In the red zone, like, you want to check in on that team.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So I also wanted to note, the draft is Josh Carter, one of our listeners, sent me a pack of Eagles football cards with APR cards in it. I think there was a Kyron Drones, a couple APRs, and then a Dallas Goedert and a Quinyon Mitchell. So Josh, thank you for the letter, and thank you for the cards. It's very much appreciated. Like, we have some great listeners over the years have sent us all kinds of cool stuff. So it's very, very much appreciated. Thank you for listening all these years, Josh. Softball is in the NCAA tournament. We will get into the details of their region a little bit later. The baseball collapse and potential redemption to come. We will talk about that later. Basketball got a couple commitments, both from the portal and from high school. And then at the end of the show, we'll just mention a special story regarding the wrestling team. We will get to that too. So make sure you like the video if you're here with us on YouTube, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Sam, the transfers. 9 gentlemen came in during the time I was on vacation. 9. That is a significant amount. I'm going to list the guys here, and then I'm going to ask immediately for your choices for the top contributors. So we got QB Garrett Rangel, O-line Jaden Muskrat, linebacker Michael Short, another linebacker in Antoine Santiago, edge rusher, I guess he's more of a defensive tackle, Emmanuel Hickman, Isaiah Spencer, wide receiver, long snapper Drew Doyle, defensive lineman Elijah Fall. I don't know how to say his first name, but he's a big boy, Fall. And then cornerback Caleb Brown, who I think you guys talked about briefly on the show when I was gone.
Yeah, we talked about Brown, corner from Hawaii, rotational guy probably. Fall, defensive tackle, showed some flashes. Again, rotational defensive player right there. Drew Doyle, I think he was in the Navy for 4 years. I don't think he's actually played at Iowa State. So,
okay,
like we said in the podcast, if you never know your long snapper's name, that means you have a good long snapper.
But he might be the biggest contributor of all these guys because he's going to be long snapping the ball.
He might. But yeah, a handful of other guys that we can get into.
Okay. So the biggest thing to me that I saw was just the quarterback coming in. Obviously, eyes always draw to the quarterback. We get this kid from Oklahoma State and Rangel, and he's been around a little bit. He has 180 pass attempts in 3 seasons at OK State, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, mostly in what you'd call mop-up duty, garbage time, a 108 rating, and a 55% completion. Do you think Rangel is just like a stopgap in case disaster happens?
Yeah, that's a break glass in case of emergency, like somebody who has played major college football before. But just I don't want to be the guy who just reads off 247 ratings, but he was a 4-star out of high school, over an 89 by 247 composite. He's an 84 as a transfer, right? So this is like, there's obviously some talent there, but it just has not shown up. And he's had a few years at Oklahoma State to show it. So this is a clear QB3, in my opinion, and a guy who you have a really small backup quarterback who is, you're not going to feel great about him running the ball and playing for a lot of snaps. And you have a QB1 who's just coming off of postseason surgery. So got to get somebody else in there.
Yeah, I would say my only concern if I was Pop Watson would be the new OC brought this guy in. That yes. Like in terms of a 2 versus 3 kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could. You could. I also think the stuff Pop Watson has put on film is probably better than anything Rangel has put on film.
I would agree with that. And so, I'm obviously in Pop Watson's camp. It's just, this is the second year in a row, if you're Pop, that we decide to go out and grab a veteran quarterback.
It's true. That's a very good point.
You could feel slighted by that.
Yep.
Isaiah Spencer, I think, is extremely intriguing. The wide receiver from Jackson State. I heard on TSL they were saying he's potentially a slot guy, but he's 6'2", 185. So maybe a little skinny, but tall. And based on his numbers, he was a deep threat. I mean, 19 yards per catch.
Yeah, that's Carroll Dale type numbers right there. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think they need some pass catchers in order just to kind of create some depth. When you lose your top 4 wide receivers after the season, you're gonna have some slots to fill up. Again, I kind of say what you said about Monty bringing in Rangel. I think this could also be Monty saying, "Hey, we need 1 or 2 more pass catchers, to come fill this in." Because you're also looking at Brody Adams, a guy who didn't play all spring with an injury. He should be working his way back, but you never know. You're 1 or 2 rolled ankles away from playing guys who have probably never played college football before. And with this guy, you have somebody who has a lot of touches. Yeah, it's at kind of a lower FCS level playing at Jackson State, but you have film, what you're going to get. He's not going to be too scared of the moment. And he does seem to have some big playability.
You said Monty, Brody, and I'm instantly thinking, did he already move on to the offensive lineman? Because I'm looking at Jaden Muskrat, a guy who was playing for Monty at Auburn, different position, and we're moving to the O-line. And this Muskrat kid is big. He's 312 pounds, but I don't want listeners to get the idea that this guy's going to come in and be immediately way better than like a Bob Schick. He is kind of a journeyman offensive lineman. Didn't play a ton last year, played more snaps the year before, but he does have a familiarity, easy for me to say, with Montgomery.
When was Montgomery's last year at Tulsa?
Last year at Tulsa was the year before Auburn, so it would have been 2022.
Okay, so then he definitely was. He played for Monty at Tulsa as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
so there's a lot of connection there. So that makes sense. They needed another offensive lineman. They get one. I don't know exactly what you're gonna get out of him on Saturdays, but you needed another body, and you got another body.
It's a big
That's what
body,
the
and
spring
he's
portal's all about.
grown up. Like he's not a
Mhm.
freshman, right? Like he
Yep.
there's a floor to probably what Phil Montgomery sees in him. That's like, all
Mhm.
right, if we needed something, needed a guy to get in there for a few snaps, like he could take care of it.
Mhm.
It would be great if Muskrat came in here and started grabbing some starting guard spots, but I just feel like that would be an indictment on some of the guys we have here, including
This is
Brody Meadows.
this
That's the
is
Brody I had in my head.
yeah. I mean, this is super random. I've seen a lot of muskrats since he has signed, like at
You
least 4,
like the animal.
like the animal muskrat. Yeah. So I don't know if that's like a sign or if I'm just outdoors more. I don't know, but it's a sick name for an offensive guard. And
What
he
is a
looks.
muskrat exactly?
Think about like if you were to
A weasel?
mix a weasel and a beaver,
Okay.
or take a
All right.
beaver and like make it small.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean I know of a muskrat, but
Yeah.
we get the groundhogs and the gophers up
Hmm.
here near me. We don't get and chipmunks, but we don't get muskrats as far as I know.
Yeah. They're everywhere down here. Yeah.
All right. So Caleb Brown, you touch on him. Let me just say this. In 10 games last year, he had 7 pass breakups, 24 total tackles, and 19 of which were solo. Again, in 10 games. Those are pretty good contributing numbers in a 10-game span. I feel like with the Josh Clark injury, this guy's going to have to play.
He's probably in your 2 deep
Yeah.
trick, but like he's probably your like 3rd or 4th corner right now.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see how he
Yeah.
comes in versus the Williams because we've got Thomas, we
Yeah.
got Christian. Like, do they maintain ahead of him, or can he come in and kind of compete for their touches
Hmm.
and snaps?
And IBM as well. You have
Yes,
him.
IBM,
So
of course,
it's like IBM, the Williamses, and Brown, I think are
and love it, of course.
compete and love it. Those are your guys that you're going to see on Saturdays, I think.
The defensive tackles, I really like both of these additions, actually. In terms of a depth piece, more with Fall, but Hickman, he was a starter for ECU a couple years ago on multiple seasons. He's from Chesterfield, so he's coming back to Virginia. He's nearly 300 pounds. It said edge on 247, but he's big. So
Mhm.
I think he's a tackle. Been in college since 2019, Sam. Been playing
Mhm.
college football. So
It's a grown
Hickman
man.
he's a veteran. And that's just a nice big veteran body who started football games to be there and
Yeah.
be again, like here's a floor to this position. We're adding another guy to that floor.
Yeah, and this is like give me all of the offensive and defensive linemen who can legally rent a car. Because that's going to be like a significant upgrade. If he's going up against like a
Yeah.
19-year-old like tackle or something like that, like he's gonna
If he can't rent a
you
car
feel
yet,
good
he's
about it.
damn close.
He's
I
damn
mean,
close.
he's got to be
And
24.
I think this was a really good win, and we can kind of maybe move this into, um, Michael Short as well, the linebacker from UNC, is a guy who was, a contributor. I think he was a special teams captain at UNC.
Mhm.
Like these aren't guys who like sat the bench and needed somewhere else to go. Like these guys played meaningful snaps at a really high level of football. So I don't think they are home run transfer portal hits. I don't think you were ever going to get a home run transfer portal hit in the spring, but they're really good ones. And they're ones who are
Yeah.
going to be productive.
You saw the snippet of one of the ACC coaches at the meetings this week saying what's left in the portal is trash.
Yeah.
Did you see that quote?
Yeah. I think at this point, there's
Yeah, and
something wrong.
maybe that's after we got these guys, or maybe it's before, but we know that the spring portal has a few gems, but mostly you're grabbing depth pieces. But a lot of these guys have something in their past that is like, okay, that could work. Like, for example, the two linebackers, which is Short and then Santiago, they're both 6'3". They're both 225, 230. Those are big bodies that can come
Mhm.
in and compete with Jaden Keller and compete with Caleb Spencer, who are not the most proficient person. Like, and they're
No.
guys that have played linebacker. I like Keller. Oh, I love Woodson, and we both know that. But Spencer's been moving positions. Two guys that have been playing inside linebacker that are coming in that are 6'3", 225. That's nice, dude. Like, that's really nice
Yeah,
to get in there and compete.
and I think there's a bit more of a level playing ground with a new defensive coordinator, right? Because you have him come in, he saw what spring ball looked like, and now he's saying, "All right, I need this guy, this guy, this guy. Like
That's a good
we
point.
need to
Yeah.
shore up this position. We need to get more depth at this position." And linebacker is, I think, maybe the number 2 position group on this team behind offensive line where we were like, they just need bodies at
Yeah.
this point. Like they need FBS level bodies, and they got a few of them.
And if by my count, when you put up the number of linebackers that are coming in as freshmen, early enrollees, transfers, we're up to 12 linebackers. And keep in
Mhm.
mind, we don't really have star linebackers anymore. So that's a lot of guys for potentially 2 positions. There will be some where you have 3 guys out there, but you know what I'm saying? Like 12 is a good number. And that's you gotta keep in mind that we're going to upper 90s, 105 here. Like it'll probably be in the mid 90s when it's all said and done in terms of guys who are getting a scholarship or paid, but that's where it's at. And so you will have higher numbers than you're used to and probably a slightly lower quality at the bottom of that group
Mhm.
than you would be used to for a scholarship player. It just means for me and you, Sam, it's more tracking of who's on the roster. And
I
let's get to that because go ahead.
real quick, I'm curious what this means for Brett Clatterball because he was a guy who, like 3 weeks ago, we were saying, man, Brett Clatterball, like he's your first guy off the bench
Mhm.
on linebacker. Now you bring in a few more defensive guys that you really like. I don't think it means anything bad for him, but is he going to get the run this year that we thought he might, or is he potentially now a redshirt candidate? I don't know, but if I'm watching a position group in fall camp, I'm watching linebacker
Yeah.
because to me, like that's the one where it is open competition, one first string, second string, third string, outside of Caleb Woodson. Like I
My
think everybody
attitude
else is up there for
on
taking.
on the red shirting thing with Clatterball and any player these days. Why? Because
Yeah, do they
there's
even
so
say
much
5 years?
transferring that like let the next school worry about how much eligibility he's got left. Like
Yeah,
if
that's fair.
Clatterball can play at even a close level to some of the top guys, burn the shirt because I want him to be here. But if it's not an offensive lineman, I don't care about red shirts. I really don't because these hardly any of these kids stay the full 5 years that it would take to use the red shirt. So I think Clatterball will contribute, but let me list them off here. Will Johnson still on the team, Keller, Woodson, Bass, Spencer, Santiago, Balance, Short, Gabe Williams, Clatterball, and then the other 2 true freshmen, Johnson and Chambers. That's a lot. It's a lot of guys. And that means in front of Clatterball is 9 guys who are already in the program. And now I know he
Yeah.
was an early enrollee, but you get me, like years ahead of him.
Yeah. Jordan Bass, I think, is a wild card right now.
Yeah,
Like
total
we don't
wild
know
card.
what we're
They
gonna
did
get
post a
right there.
picture of him though, which made me feel just like a little bit better the other
Like
day.
he's still I think I texted about like, all right, he's on the team. Like we at
Yes,
least know he's
yes.
on the team. Um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So overall roster notes before we do our ad break and beer break, 50 new players next year, Sam. We are up to 30 total transfers coming in, 31 going out. But keep in mind,
Mhm.
some of the ones that were going out were guys that you've literally never heard of. They were walk-ons or whatever
Yeah.
else. So yes, it's a lot outgoing, but it between the 30 coming in transfer wise and the 20 or so in the class 1920 is 50 new guys. That's a lot of change, an unprecedented amount of change for Virginia Tech.
College football in 2025. I don't
Mhm.
think it's been too out of the ordinary, honestly. I haven't really been surprised by anything. Like I don't
I'm
think Tech has
surprised
had
because
a
we haven't done this. Like other schools have
yeah,
done this. I never did you ever think we'd have 30 incoming transfers? That's a lot.
no, no, but at the same time, we sat here a year ago saying no matter what happens this year, the roster is going to turn over. Like these
Yep.
guys don't have any more eligibility. Like they can't play here anymore. So we definitely haven't seen it in Blacksburg, but also like it something had to happen.
Yeah.
I,
It was almost
crazy.
bound to happen during a rebuilding year, so to speak. That if
Mhm,
you don't want to go full rebuild, which let's face it, if you're a Power Five team and you have football aspirations, you don't have time for a rebuilding year. Like you
mm-mm,
really don't, especially Brent Pry in year 4. And so they have these 9 guys that just came in, Sam. Like that was the as I'm on vacation and seeing them all like, oh, we got another commitment. We got another commitment. Like there was some chips being pushed in here. Like we need to shore up this roster
mhm.
because all of our asses are on the line. And that's what I felt with this last push of transfers.
Yeah, yeah. I do think there is a um like we're running 4 verts here type thing. I don't know if it's
Hail Mary
gonna
time. Yep.
work, but it's we're turbo speed going for it. Like I think you're going to see a team play with a much more like how do I put this in like a good way? But like I don't think you're going to see a team go out there and play not to lose because I think those days are long gone. And I
Mhm.
think if they go out there and like if you lose a game 21-17 or you lose a game 45-7, it's still a loss. And at this point, like the only thing that matters is the results of the game. I think you're going to see a team really go for it this
Yeah.
year. And some of these moves that they've made, I'm like, okay, like this is a defensive player who you bring in like Ben Bell and James Jonkum on the outside. Like those aren't traditional defensive ends. Those are like stand up sprint to go to the passer type pass rushers. That's not a conservative keep the ball in front of you defensive move right there.
No, it's
So
not. I love it though. I honestly do. Like to finish the point on just the final push of transfers is that we needed depth at a number of positions, and
mhm,
we pretty much addressed it everywhere, including areas that I didn't know if we were going to take 2, 3, 4 extra transfers. Like the D line now, there's depth across the board. Like the defensive
mhm,
tackle position to me is rock solid. It might not be as high end without Peebles, but Copeland and Gilliam as starters, and then we bring in Heisman. Laws is going to be developing. The 2 guys we just brought in with Hickman and Fall. Uh, there's a couple Nash. Like
mhm,
it's crazy. Priester too. Like we are. I don't know how deep it is because they're transfers. We don't know what we're going to get out of them. Some are obviously going to be depth pieces, but we didn't have those depth pieces before. And
mhm,
so I feel great about what we did on the defensive line. We got 11 defensive ends and 9 defensive tackles. That's 20 defensive linemen that are scholarship worthy or borderline scholarship worthy in this new 105. So
mhm.
that's very exciting. I mean, even a guy like Christian Evans could end up contributing at defensive tackle this year.
Yeah, I think they're gonna play whoever. Like I don't think they're going to play for the future as much. Like
Yeah.
you said with Clatterball. I think they'll go for it.
The one position we didn't add, which I thought we might, was tight end because we still only have 4 guys. Like, is that like indicative of what the scheme's going to be about?
I mean, 4 is enough. Like I don't think we're gonna run any 22 personnel out
Yeah.
there or anything. So I think you feel pretty good about only having 4 guys. I do think it is indicative that this is not a program that is going to try to like strong offset eye two tight ends 34 dive their way down the field. I don't think you're going to see that at all. Like, I think it's going to be a lot of running back by committee, a lot of 4 wide receiver sets. Then maybe some, like, the tight end might be playing more of like an H-back role potentially in slot receiver, a little less on the line tight end.
There is no tight end in the program, though, that has been here less than 3 years. Like, the youngest guys on the tight end room are redshirt sophomores. So this will be their 3rd year. It's just kind of funny that there's nobody younger than that. There's no freshmen. Like,
we'll see. We'll see if they bring somebody in next year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe they feel like they don't need anybody. I don't know.
All right, so let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. Two Deep Hokies Under the Influence is brought to you by Roback. I've got my black Roback hoodie on. You guys know Roback, the performance activewear designed for those who crave activity. They have the new white stuff that came out. They got the quarter zip and the hoodie. I had 3 shots there, and I said the wrong one. And then you were talking about the Hokie Tracks polo that just came out on the last episode. And that thing is very fresh. If you're a fan of like the traditional 2 Hokie feet, that polo looks really good. You can use code 2DEEPVT to get 20% off your order at roback.com. So go there, load up your cart. They got the hoodies, the tees, the quarter zips, shorts, joggers, ladies stuff, little dresses. They got it all. And of course, all the polos in various styles. So use code 2DEEPVT to get 20% off your order. Roback Crave Activity. Sam, you are getting into the hard stuff tonight.
Yeah, I ran out of beer at the Metallica concert, and I didn't notice that until about, what time is it now? Until about 7:45. So we're going with a nice Woodford Reserve double oaked. I'm not drinking from the bottle. I brought the bottle out to show.
You could if
Woodford
you
Reserve
wanted.
double oaked. It's the best. I think it's my go-to if I'm going anything on the brown liquor.
Very
and
nice.
I got a really cool glass here that has a road map of Blacksburg. I don't think you can probably see it on camera.
I can see it a little bit. Yeah. I know the glass. I've seen those.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
And you've got the big ice cube too.
Got the big ice cube. Yeah.
So did I tell you my new fridge makes those cubes?
That's pretty sick.
We did a kitchen remodel, which not for the week. But the new fridge we got, it has 2 ice trays. So one makes regular ice and one makes balls of ice. I don't even know how it does it, but it's in the bottom freezer and it was like drop, like you can hear it in the middle of the night. Like, what is that? And it's like balls of ice dropping into the tray, but it's sick. Sweet for drinking some brown liquor. I'm drinking the Grimm Wavetable Hazy IPA. Texted Sam about this earlier today because it's from Brooklyn, which is going to be his new hometown. He just settled on a place today. Congrats, buddy.
Thank you. It is not an easy place to find a place to live.
No, New York, notably not easy to find a place to live. Pat just went through it. You're going through it, but you're done with it now. So you'll be moving in a little bit. This beer, when you get up there, you got to check out Grimm Brewing because this Wavetable is delicious. 6.7% alcohol. You can see how bright the color is. Now I got a light on it, but still it's a very light colored hazy IPA. The flavor is phenomenal. You get all the citrus stuff you want to come through. This says luscious and tropical. It's a good description. This can knows what it's talking about. Grimm Brewing Wavetable. And when I looked at their Untapped, because I'm the guy in the beer store that I honestly have to look at the Untapped before I buy a 6-pack or a 4-pack or whatever.
Gotta be.
All of their beers were like nearly 4 or 4.2, 4.1. So this Grimm Brewing, I'm going to try to see if I can find some more stuff from there. And you look for it once you get up there, man.
We'll do. There's a little row of some pretty high profile breweries in Brooklyn. So we'll be sure to do some review videos from there.
I wanted to say one last thing about my trip to South America. My buddy got married. Congrats, Joe. We went to Tech together, met on the floor freshman year, been friends for over 20 years now. And it was beautiful. And I also got to sample a lot of South American wine and beer. And Argentina, where the wedding was in Buenos Aires, the Malbecs flow like water. So we drank a lot of wine, ate a lot of red meat. I'm sure my cholesterol numbers are absolutely horrible, but the food was outstanding. And I did partake in a bunch of beers. The Imperial brand of beers is big down there. I posted a picture from it, but a lot of just light beers. There are some craft you will find like IPAs and stuff down there, of course, but it's not like the US. Like we are IPA heavy. I mean, the IPAs that are the most popular right now are called New England IPAs. They are from America, but you can find New Englands down there. I did, in fact, have one right next to where Evita is buried, the Recoleta Park. There's a brewery across the street, and we went there, and I had an amazing New England IPA. Like I had been drinking Pilsners like all week, and I was like, oh, this tastes amazing. So maybe it's just by comparison. But in Peru, again, a lot of gold lagers. They have like 4 basic types of beer in Peru. It's like light lagers, red lagers, wheat beer is actually really big there, and then I'm forgetting what the 4th one was, but it wasn't IPAs. You can find IPAs. They also have like the corn beer. Like I ordered a beer somewhere and I was like, what's your house beer? I see it's on the menu. They're like, oh, it's corn beer. And I'm like, all right, give me that. And like the color was honestly just like this, but it drank more like a lager rather than an IPA. But I the thing in Peru is pisco. I don't know if you know what pisco is, but it's a spirit, and it's kind of like I want to say it's like a brandy. It's somewhere between like brandy and maybe tequila-y, because you like the pisco sour is the national drink. So we had some pisco sours and they were very good. But I stuck to mostly beer because I was afraid of ice cubes and things like that.
Oh yeah, that'll get you. Yep, that'll get you.
Have you ever seen that clip from Star Wars? Like in the 70s, there's a South American link here. They aired Star Wars in Chile, and they inserted beer commercials into Star Wars.
Yes, there's like a Heineken. Is it Heineken?
It's Cerveza Cristal is the name of the beer. And so I was looking for Cerveza Cristal the whole time I was down there, and like I could only they didn't have it in any of the restaurants. I think I saw it in like one convenience store, but they're like Luke is like in fighting the Yeti on Hoth. And then it turns around and it's like a cooler in the snow, and it's like Cerveza Cristal. I'm like, I really wanted to find one of those, but it's a Chilean beer. In any case, beer was great. Trip was great. I would recommend Lima and Buenos Aires to anyone. You don't know. I'd never been to South America. You kind of don't know like what level of country you're going to. Both of those city centers are amazing with the awesome food, awesome drinks. We didn't get sick. Like there was no like you can drink the tap water in Buenos Aires. That's not a big deal. I drank it. And most of the good hotels and restaurants are filtering their water. So you shouldn't have to worry about like if a place has 4.5-star Google reviews, they're filtering their water, because otherwise everyone would be getting sick.
I'll be in Germany in a couple weeks, and I'll be sure to do some beer reviews.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. I thought about it. I didn't get to it, but I did post some pictures from my Peruvian beer and a couple from Buenos Aires as well. So let's move on. Softball. They beat UNC in the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament, Sam, and it looked like they were well on their way to the championship game against the Noles, up 9-2 in the 6th inning. And we blew the lead. 7 runs, multiple walked-in runs. You were watching, I believe. I was, I think, in a cab or on a plane or something. What happened?
It was a torrential downpour. I believe the whoever was on the broadcast, I forget who said, this is the worst conditions I've ever seen for a softball game. And it was like you could not see the field barely. And they just couldn't throw a strike. I think they were almost like trying too hard at that point. I think they needed to just like lob the ball over the plate, and they just weren't doing it. I mean, they were up so many runs. They should have just kind of soft tossed the ball over the plate and like, I dare you to try to hit it out, because like all you needed was like a pop fly. Like at one point I think they gave up like 3 runs with 2 outs and walked them all in. They just kind of imploded. They tried 3 different pitchers. Like nothing worked. And then, Clemson was able to, Clemson kind of did that when their pitcher went up to pitch in the bottom of the 7th. or the top of the 7th, excuse me. And she just kind of like 3/4 speed over the plate, and Tech like hit a pop out, hit a ground out, and something else. So like it was a really bad loss. I think it was one that like they started the like, oh no, like this is happening, like this is bad. That set in like way before Clemson was within striking range. And you
Yeah, it
could
was
kind
like
of
9 to
tell.
4, and you could feel it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm watching the stat cast, and I'm like, what is going on? What, like, because I'm updating the live Hokie Sports, and even I was like, something's wrong here. I don't like what's
Clemson didn't
happening. And
swing
then
the
you
bat.
were texting me like, it's
They
pouring rain.
they barely swung the bat. Like there were multiple girls who got up there and the bat didn't leave their shoulder. They just
Mm,
waited,
that's
and
brutal,
they
man.
ended up like walking on full counts. So pretty brutal loss. I think it did knock them out of hosting. Um,
Yeah, so we're not hosting a regional,
yeah,
but we have a better record than Bama. We were, and some of the metrics you look at, like RPI, we're better than Bama.
better.
And
Yeah, it.
there's some rumors that we declined hosting. I'm not substantiating
I
them. I'm just mentioning that for
They came
logistical and
out
financial reasons, maybe we didn't want to host.
the like head of the committee came out and said a few things about it and was like, yeah, it was between like 4 or 5 different teams. And we gave the last spot to Oregon. And they have like, I think Oregon has a bunch of big wins. Like they have like 5 top 10 wins or something. And Tech didn't play very like went 1-2 against Florida State, 0-2 against LSU. Like Tech had a few of these opportunities and didn't get a lot of wins in those opportunities. I think
Yeah.
that might be what did it early in the season. But hey, they're 1-1 versus Bama this year. You're going to have to win the same number of games no matter where you play them. So here you go.
It's true. And what that 1-1 against Alabama, who is hosting the region, they happened in Tuscaloosa. So
Mm-hmm.
we are 500 against them where we're going to be playing these games. Belmont and Jackson State are also in the region. Belmont 62 in the RPI. Tech is 14th. Bama's 19th, just for reference. Jackson State 234 in the RPI. So I don't know if we shouldn't have to play them, but if we do, it should be a win. Belmont's first up though. That's Friday at 3:30 on ESPN Plus this Friday. So got to get that win, and then hey, maybe you can beat Bama, and then you have to beat them twice to win the region, right? So
Yeah. I mean, you got to win games no matter what. I do think this team has like not been playing their best lately. And so maybe they're due to kind of get back to where they were. Like I think ML Emily hasn't pitched as well over the second half of the season. So like we should expect her to play a little bit better, but they got a chance, dude. Like they're a good team. They got a chance.
they definitely have a chance. And what's crazy though is, Sam, if they win this region, they're gonna have to play Oklahoma. Very,
Yeah,
very
we
next round.
keep running into Oklahoma in these things.
Dude, Oklahoma, I didn't know this until I looked it up yesterday. They've won 4 straight natties. 4
Mhm.
straight in softball?
Yeah, I think this is like the worst team they've had in a decade.
Yeah, like they have 7 losses. It's like unheard of this year that they're this bad because they're not the one. They're the 2 seed. That's why we're Bama's 15, so that's how this thing works. But yeah, 4 straight natties. Now that means they're probably due to not win
Yeah,
one.
that's a way to
so,
think about it.
so
Yeah,
maybe it's Tech that will upset them.
we'll
But
see.
oh my god, yeah, they're Oklahoma's going to come out of their region. Like they're going to come out of their region. So if we can
Mhm.
beat Bama, come out of this region, let's take on the champs and see what happens. All right, baseball, Sam, 29 and 22, 11 and 16 in ACC play. They lost 6 in a row before winning their last 2. Simply put, what has happened to this team? Are the injuries just catching up?
Yeah, I would say number one, injuries are catching up. I would say number two, they've lost a few extra inning games that he would like to win, right? Like you lose a game in 11 innings to Duke, you lose a game in 15 innings to Pittsburgh. Like you'd like to have those games. But I do think the biggest thing right now is the pitching depth is starting to catch up. Just too many injuries, too many guys are beat up. And you look at the hitting side of it, they have a couple guys who are slumping, and they really don't have anybody to replace them with right now. So it hasn't been good. Really good weekend against Mercer, though. The pitching staff was really good. That's a good Mercer team. Win both of those games. That gave them a little bit of jolt. They didn't play the game against Marshall in the midweek, so it's all about this UVA series coming up. I think the winner of this series makes a regional. I think it's between Tech and UVA for the last spot from the ACC.
And this is not the typical UVA juggernaut.
Very talented, have not played well until the last 3 or 4 weeks. They might be one of the hottest teams in the country.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not, this is going to obviously be a very tough series, but it's is UVA in the tournament? You're
right
saying that so either of us, so say we go 2-1. You think we're in over them?
I think it will be really close.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
But this is Tech has a really good resume. They're tied for the sixth most quad one wins in the country. Only one team has played more quad one games, and that's Vanderbilt. And Virginia Tech and South Carolina are tied for second. There's not a lot of teams particularly close. They've played 28 quad one games this year.
That's a tough ass schedule, man. That is really tough.
They're going to finish after this UVA series. They're going to finish with the top 20 schedule in the country, and they'll have one of the toughest schedules in the ACC. It has been a gauntlet, and that's kind of what happened to this team. Like, it was, every team has injuries, right? That happens, but it was that combination of injuries with some close losses, and then you were playing a gauntlet of a schedule, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of span, like they played Florida State, and then they played UNC. Both of those teams are top 5 in the country right now. Like, it was back to back, boom, boom. You were able to get one versus UNC, but it has kind of fallen apart here in the second half of the season. But
so let me ask you this, Sam. I wouldn't say it's a collapse. I said that earlier, maybe for dramatic effect, but the 6 in a row isn't good. I don't know if winning these last 2 against Mercer have saved it from collapse status, but we've seen these late season kind of slides from the Hokies.
Mm-hmm.
What it can't be, is it always ACC play just grinds on this team? Like, what is it about this team that happens?
I think that's part of it. So, like, I would look back to last year when they had kind of a similar collapse, and their schedule was very heavy on the back half.
I remember that. Yeah.
I think that, and then they kind of had this collective hitting slump as well that killed them. The year before, they just had zero pitching. I mean, they had no pitching at all.
Yeah.
This year, I think they actually have some better pitching in some cases. But again, you having 2 of your weekend starters are true freshmen that were not going to be starting pitchers at all, who had to step up into those roles. And those guys have not been good the second half of the season. I mean, you can't, Tech can't get 3 innings out of these guys. And so it is an absolute grind to just get outs right now. So that has not helped them at all.
Would you say that we are a young or very young team?
Pitching wise, young. I think there is a good opportunity that you have all 3 weekend starters back, and then you gain 2 more guys who were supposed to start this year in Griffin Stig and Madden Clement
for next year.
Yeah, so the pitching staff could be pretty good next year. You are going to lose some guys to the draft and to graduation who are in your lineup. I just, again, like, it's been a different reason every year. This year, I think, as compared to the other 2 years, I don't know if you could have made a coaching change to really do anything else. Like, I don't think there are any levers to pull right now.
Yeah.
Like, you have your backup catcher, or your third string catcher, excuse me, who's a true freshman playing first base because you're out of first baseman.
God, that's crazy.
You have a true freshman playing on the hot corner at third. And when he's not at third, you're trying to get him to play second base. 2 of your best transfers you brought in on the outfield are both hurt so bad. One of them's coaching first base.
I knew the outfield was in trouble.
Yeah. One of your innings eaters reliever is out for the season in Andrew Settlinger. So, like, I don't really know the lever that you want them to pull.
So if they beat UVA 2 out of 3, make the tournament. Is that a very successful season to you?
Yes, this team was not projected to make the tournament preseason.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll be rooting for that. We got a bunch of action going on this weekend, man, between softball and baseball. Some fun stuff happening in the next couple days. Basketball. We got a 2025 commitment. I thought those were done, but they are not. From Solomon Davis, a 6'11 center from DeMatha. I feel like every guy we've gotten as of late, Sam, has been tall. Like we got the Dorn kid who's 7 feet tall. Gerdak is tall. Sincere is, I want to say 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
We have some size that's coming in next year. And to supplement, go ahead.
I mean, there's 7 players right? 7 players listed here as newcomers for next year. None of them shorter than 6'4".
Yeah. And yeah, for a guard, who that's what I was going to mention next, is Jalen Bedford, a transfer from UNLV, is coming over. 6'4", 10 points a game last year, 4.3 rebounds. Not a great shooting percentage. We've seen that before, but it was still better than Jaden Young's. So,
dude, he'll shoot the ball.
Right.
There is no doubt about that.
Another Jalen. This one spelled a different way. I didn't know how. I never knew there were so many different ways to spell Jalen, but there are. And this is Jailen Bedford coming over from UNLV. So the roster is really taking shape now, but we are waiting on one more potential addition from Nicholas Avdalas. This guy is currently at the NBA Combine. He played in some of the scrimmages today. Didn't blow up, anything like that.
Yeah.
You are rooting for this guy to stay out of the draft because if Avdalas goes to a college, the reports are he's coming to Virginia Tech.
Yes. And he did pretty well today. I think he had like 8 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists or something like that. Skill wise, I think I have heard talks like he's the most skilled player coming into Virginia Tech since Nikhil and maybe even more. Like he's a professional basketball player is what you're getting.
He was not playing in the Greek league at like 15.
Yeah. Like this is a dude.
This is a dude. Shit.
And so I
watched, have you watched any of his highlights?
I've watched like 5 or 6 minutes in total. I'm not out here doing film review of the Greek league.
No, but, and obviously watching a highlight tape isn't the best way to evaluate someone.
Correct, yeah.
But when I watch him play and the way he moves his body, it's very Matas Buzelis, who was a big prospect and is on the Bulls now. Like that aggression, just a big guy that can put it on the floor and get to the hoop and do some crazy up and unders and block some shots. Like it's very Buzelis. And so I'm excited.
He looks like an NBA player.
Yeah.
You know, like his movement, the way he plays the game. He, again, like you said, like he goes after and he's aggressive, but he's not out of control. Like the game looks kind of slow to him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of characteristic of what you're getting from a lot of the European players right now is this, you know, very offensively skilled, but slower, methodical. He could be a like significant program changer if he comes to Virginia Tech.
I know. And we shouldn't hype him up too much, but I'm telling you, watch. It's Neoklis. Avdalas, not Avadalas, Avdalas. Watch his highlights and tell me you're not excited. Because if this guy is playing next to Toby Lawal, like it's highlight central. Like I can't wait to see what happens with those two guys in the court. And again, another tall guy, Avdalas is what, 6'8", 6'9"?
Yeah.
So we're going to have some size next year, man. We really will. I don't know how much Dorn was in the Division II of the German league or something like that. Is that comparable to the ACC?
I've heard
probably
like comparable to A10 American, like that level.
So if he can play there, he can play in the ACC. I think Dorn can give us minutes for sure. And Solomon Davis, we're probably not going to see too much of him, but hey, get a 6'11" center in the program. I'm never going to hate on that. And he's the DeMatha kid, which is always good. So I'm starting to get it, like, I'm already excited about the team for next year, very much so. But if we get off Dallas, this is going to be awesome.
Well, here's a quote from Mike Young. He said this today to David Teal after the ACC meetings. He said, "quote We're going to be a lot better. We're going to be a hell of a lot better, and I'm looking forward to getting into it."
I love it. I love Mike feeling good. Last thing I'll say on of Dallas, if he's not a first rounder, or if he doesn't get a first round guarantee, I think he will withdraw from the draft within the next 2 weeks because that's the deadline. And the reports, there was a tweet. There's been some other things that says if he doesn't go to the pros, he's coming to Virginia Tech. I feel like he's not quite there. Like in terms of the draft stock, if you look at all the mocks, he's right outside. I found one article that said he could be a first rounder. So based on what he did today, which was fine, but if he had dropped 30 in that scrimmage, Sam, I would have been worried.
He would have been adios.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say goodbye in Greek, but
he did not do that. Is it ciao? Or I know that's
Italian.
What do they say in Greece? I know it's close. But yeah, so I'm pumped, dude. I think I feel like we're gonna get him. Even if we don't, I'm excited. But like this, like you said, it could change the ceiling and the trajectory for this program if we bring this kid in. Last but not least, I wanted to mention this story about the wrestling program in which Norm Latona, a wrestling Hall of Famer in and of himself, he's in the fraternity. Sam's father needed a kidney transplant, and none other than head coach Tony Roby stepped up to donate that kidney. And the surgery went well. As far as I've heard, it's a success. And you want to talk about all the bad stuff that happens with our athletic department and us not succeeding in sports. One, the wrestling program is awesome. And two, if this isn't the biggest like ut proseme thing ever, like this is so amazing. Shout out to Tony Roby and the wrestling program, because this touched my heart, and it's so Virginia Tech and so perfect.
Yeah, it's a incredible story. And everything we've seen so far is that it was a successful surgery, and that's not always the case. So that's certainly a blessing as well. Just, prosum to the T.
It's so cool, man. And I think I said this in one of the chats, like Brent Pry called our color burgundy, and Tony Roby's out here donating a goddamn kidney to his player's father. Like, it's just the differences in these, like, about what these programs are about and doing the right things. It's just like that stark difference happening one day apart. Just like, oh man. But I love Tony Roby, and I love that story. And Sam Latona was just so fun to watch. Like, what
awesome.
What a great wrestler for Virginia Tech.
Yes, a Hokie fan favorite for a long time, that's for sure. And also a good reminder, if you are not signed up to be an organ and tissue donor on your license, do so. It can save a ton of lives and positively impact a lot more. A little bit different situation than what we saw with Coach Roby and Mr. Latona, but as well, something important to do.
There's a lot of, this isn't anything out of turn. I'm an organ donor, but there's a lot of like bad stuff. Like, make sure you're not an organ donor, because they'll take your stuff when you're not dead, or they'll whatever. Like, you can find all kinds of stuff on the internet. Organ donors are so necessary and such a gift for so many reasons. So yeah, I would back what Sam just set up right there. All right, Sam, that's going to do it for the show. We're right at about an hour. We had some good beer, some good drinks on your end. Back in the saddle.
Hey, man, right at an hour right now. The ticker's at 59:40 right now. You might think we kind of know what we're doing at this point.
Yeah, right. We nailed it. We meant to do that. So if you're still watching with us, use the word Peru in the comment section on YouTube. If you made it to the end of the show, put Peru in the comment section. Know that you're here with us. Sam has our hoodie on right now. This is the Two Deep hoodie, the new logo on a hoodie. If you want one, send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter to the Two Deep account, and I'll get back to you. Yeah. For our loyal listeners, we're only charging $30 because we're not trying to make money. We're just trying to cover some costs. And one of these hoodies could be yours. I have a handful here.
I will say this. The cost is you do have to share the podcast with a Hokie friend. I'll say that. The second is, I think my dad, who's a very intelligent man, when I showed him the sweatshirt, I think it clicked like the name of the podcast. Like, I don't think he totally like connected it all.
That it was 2 beers.
That's like 2 beers. He was like, why are there beers on it? And I was like, it's so
it works on multiple levels. It can be the 2 Deep roster. It can be 2 beers deep. But if you have to walk through the title, then it's not as good, right?
a teaser for next show. Pete will tell us how he came up with the name 2 Deep.
There were some bad names left on the cutting room floor. Let me tell you that right now. But it was me and Robbie came up with it together, and I'll go into it at another time. But for now, make sure you're subscribed. Sons of Saturday on YouTube. Check out all the Metallica videos. Make sure you check out Sam, Billy, and Brett's show, which was on the Sons of Saturday feed on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube. And subscribe to 2 Deep on Spotify and give us a rating if you can. They're also monitoring our views now on Spotify, Sam.
That's cool.
So you can see now. Here's the thing about Spotify. It's only tracking Spotify listens. So on the rare occasion we can get to 1,000 Spotify listens. That's great. But most of the listens come from Apple. I don't know if people your age or my age realize that.
Maybe I'm just not cool, but I don't do it. But
what do you listen to your podcast?
I'm Spotify.
Yeah, okay. That's me as well. But I think initially most people are just using the house. This is what I was given. I was given the podcast app. That's what I use. And some people don't want to pay for Spotify. So, but in any case, they are showing the views now on Spotify. I noticed that. And ours there's the sign that says under 1,000. We're going to crack that. I think the Suns had a couple episodes that cracked it. TSL cracks it every now and again. It's not easy to get 1,000 views just on Spotify, but hopefully this season we'll get there. All right. And until next time, go Hokies.
Go Hokies.